The Rhinos cage the Robins in Vegas. It's a Tuesday, it's 8 p.m. Also tonight on Super League Raw Weekly, we announce the Round 3 Team of the Week. We have all the news, all the gossip and all the transfers in Banging or Hanging. The Huddersfield Giants are tied up by the Castleford Tigers. What next for Luke Robinson's Ben? The little man, well, he won't be happy this week, but he's still here. What would Oliver say? Is tonight. Also, how good were the Wigan Warriors? 3 impressive wins in a row. Is it going to be their year? And tonight, we announce the Coach of the Month, Player of the Month and Team of the Month for February. This is Super League Raw Weekly. This programme is proudly sponsored by BYD, the #1 electric vehicle in the world and the fastest growing brand in the UK car market. BYD in Super League Raw, building our dreams together. And the home of Super League Raw, the Bluebell in Warrington. Make this your pre- and post-game destination for the best food and drink in town. In a world of chaos, there's one thing you can rely on, and that, of course, is Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock, Super League Raw Weekly. Let's all enjoy each other's company for an hour or so, talking about the greatest game on earth, the Betfred Super League and Rugby League in general. With me tonight, as always, is good. Well, good evening to Steph. Good evening, Steph. You well? I was going to call you Steph.
Very well. Yeah, hope everyone's okay out there.
Absolutely. Reggie, good evening, sir.
Good evening, you well?
Absolutely marvellous, sir. Marvellous. Super Chat is open. If anybody wants to go to the bar and buy us a drink, we are more than happy for you to do so. Super Chat is indeed open. Good evening to everybody in the chat. Dawn Kirby, welcome back from Vegas. Carl Shaw's with us, Nige Bennett. Nicola Burnwood is with us. Always good to see Nick, albeit only the one kiss. I will take that one. Oh, no, there's three further up. No Joel tonight. Joel is having a well-deserved break with his family. He's in Skeggy. He's at Butlins at Skeggy, is our Joel. So he'll be back next week, I'm sure. He's having a great break down there. But we've got a packed show for you tonight. Obviously, the trailer tells you a little bit of what we're going to be doing. Of course, coach, team, and player of the month of February. That's going to be announced for you this evening. Don't forget to share. Share now. If you're watching us, share this to all your Rugby League fanatical friends. Make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe to us across all our social medias. And hype if you're on YouTube. Give us a hype. That'd be very nice of you to do. Hyping. It's the new liking is hyping by all accounts. There you jolly well go. Right, yes. So what we're going to do? Well, I'll tell you what. Let's kick off. Let's get cracking. We're going to start off by announcing the coach of the month. The coach of the month for February, probably the easiest decision that we've got thus far, because there's only one team on maximum points, so that pretty much makes it a slam dunk for this man, which of course is Matt Peat. Matt Peat, a perfect start, 3 from 3, top of Super League, joint top try scorers with 20, best defence, only conceded 22 points in 3 games, and the second best attack, 118 points scored. Now, of course, there's going to be loads of people, maybe a few Hull KR fans, who might not watch us normally, who are now screaming, how could that be? Well, he won the World Club Championship. We only judge this on Super League. We don't count Challenge Cup. We don't count World Cup Championships. It's only Super League. The same for Team of the Week, the same for Team of the Month. It's Super League only. Matt Peat, Greg, Coach of the Month. Undeniable.
Yeah. And well deserved. They've started like a house on fire. And we're ruthless against Lee this weekend. So, yeah, fully deserved. Shout out to the new guys on the block. Mark Applegarth, especially at York, to go away twice and to win 2 games. The blip was the one defeat they had. But, yeah, can't argue with Matty Peat at all.
No. Absolutely not. Steph, you saw Matty Peat's team first stand at the weekend. Adam Morty's asking if he scored yet. It's fair to say Wigan have got off to a phenomenal start.
I have, and I was at the game on Thursday, unfortunately for me as a Leeds fan. But it was, from a rugby league perspective, Wigan would have put at least 30, I think, on any team on Thursday night. They were that good. I was so impressed with how quick they were. Absolutely no complaints from me as a Leeds fan. Just the best team absolutely won convincingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And, let's just, we've given Matt there his due respect. We'll come back to that one in a minute. Let's just talk Wigan for a moment. Nothing's won. Nothing's won in February. Nothing. Have they peaked too soon? There'll be loads of debates around Wigan. One thing that is undeniable, though, about Wigan at this moment in time, and Steph, I'll come back to you because, of course, you did see him firsthand at the Brick on Friday, Thursday, whenever it was. At the beginning of the season, there were question marks. Were the pack big enough? I think what we've seen on the edges as well as down the middle is some ferocious running. Some incredible running. We saw it the week before against FC. We saw it again against Dew. And don't get me wrong, adversity aside in terms of Joffre and the rest, they ran hard. They're running so hard. They really, really are. Defensively, only 22 points conceded. Judging them solely on this form, and it's unlikely they can carry that out for 27 rounds. But I think what they've proven already, that if this current squad is fit at the business end of the season, they could mix it with anyone.
100%, and that's pretty much always going to be the case, isn't it, for Wigan, barring a freak season where things go wrong for them. They're extremely well coached, and I think the main thing that stuck out for me was Harry Smith's kicking. That was, he pinned Lee back, but it takes the whole team to maximise that opportunity, and they all look fit, they all look ruthless. Lee were just suffocated the whole game, and were made to run out of their own 20 constantly. And it was a tactical masterclass, I think, by Matty Peat in terms of the way he played Lee. Lee had their adversity. Even so, I think a full strength Lee side would have got convincingly beat on Thursday night. They were that good. It's just, from a Wigan fan perspective, it's great to see. It's rugby how it should be played. They didn't, they weren't using tactics or anything. Everything was by the book. It was just a really, really good performance. And like I said earlier, I think they would have put 30 points on any side in Super League. They were that good. You're
on mute, Dave.
My apologies. So you can never count Wigan off. They're a champion side. But I just think, case in point, Junior December. Junior December has started off 26 where he left off in 24 for me. He's been unbelievable.
Yeah, was that to me, Dave? Yeah, it has been. He had a bit of like second season syndrome a little bit last year, where maybe teams worked him out a little bit. He's gone away and they've worked on his game, and he's a force to be reckoned with. But I also want to mention Ethan Havard as well, because a lot of people questioned his choice in the Ashes, but from what I've seen of him this season, he's He's running hard, hitting the tackles hard. He's really kind of playing the way you'd expect somebody who's looking for international honours to be playing at this point in the season. So he's obviously got the World Cup in mind. Kieran as well. I mean, he's kicking and his centre play is brilliant. And Farrell out in the centres instead of Wardle. He gets a lot of criticism from some Wigan fans. He's so versatile. He runs as hard in the centres as he does in the second row. The guy must have a fountain of youth in his back garden, to be quite honest. He's no signs of him slowing down, is there? So
No.
If you're a Wigan fan, apart from the news about, Jay Field today, if you're a Wigan fan, you'd be quite happy with the way you've started. They weren't happy at losing the grip on all 4 trophies last season. They've clearly worked on it in the off season, and they're hungry to get at least 1 or 2 of them back this season.
Absolutely. Nige Bennett has already got in. Cheers, Nige. Good evening to you. All the very, very best. There's the first beer of the evening for all our efforts. Thank you very much indeed, Nige. Hope you are well. And also, thank you to all the members who took the time to send that message to Rebecca. That was absolutely marvellous. Really, really enjoyed that. But no, Wigan in incredible form. Whilst we're talking, Wigan, I thought Wigan were really impressive against against Lee. In terms of Leeds against KR, incredible. Look, I'll come to KR in a minute, but first of all, let's give Leeds their due respect. They bullied KR, absolutely bullied them. I backed them. I know you did, Steph, in captain's run, but not by that margin. That was as close to perfection, Steph, as I've seen Leeds play in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what it shows, and like the Wigan result as well, is if you don't turn up against top sides, you will get a good idea, no matter who you are and where you finished last season or whatever. Like we said plenty of times already, we're just coming into March, so you are going to get freak results. There are lots of injuries kicking about and stuff like that. But for the teams like Leeds and Wigan, it's a really good show, just how dominant they can be. And it's a warning for everybody, and, especially the ones who wrote Leeds off, that they could mix it absolutely with anyone. And especially when they've got Sivo doing what he was doing. If he stays fit all season, then that's going to be a massive win for Leeds, but also a massive pain in the backside for a lot of coaches in Super League as well. I know you stop in.
Absolutely. On Maker Sivo, it was an incredible display. Just everything about him. What I really loved about the performance, Greg, is his tries were rare. How he just fended Davis off was incredible. But that planned dropout where he started almost right at the back fence and right in the corner, and then set off. And you saw it from behind when they took to the angle to behind. Plan move, he bulleted onto that, and away he went. His all-round performance, Mika Sivo, welcome back. What an addition to Super League.
Yeah, mate, what a performance. That was my favourite bit of the whole weekend, when he regathered that dropout and went down the pitch. He's got a lot of time to make up for, hasn't he? Unfortunately, he was out for all of last season. So he's got a lot of making up to do to the Leeds faithful. But my word, he repaid them on the early hours of Sunday morning. That was an immense performance by him, by Leeds in general. There'll be a lot of wingers with grumbling appendixes over the next few weeks, thinking about facing up to Mika Sivo. I tell you, it's not it's not a pleasant thought if you're a winger. I thought having, he's like the Viney Colo back in the early 2000s. He's a big lad, isn't he? And he's fast and he's powerful and he's strong.
And Davis is no slouch. So, I think of some of the smaller right wingers in Super League. If you can do that to Davis, they've got a couple of tricky games coming their way where Leeds can see. But phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal as far as Leeds were concerned. Again, good signs, good early signs for Leeds. Again, as Lee is showing, injuries can really start to plague you. But at this moment in time, what Leeds are showing is that providing that they can stay fit and put their best side on the field, they're going to be competitive. Now, in terms of KR, look, I wasn't surprised by this result. I back Leeds. I think there's a lot of people who need to go and give their head a wobble online, because the amount of people who are actually carving up KR off the back of that loss is unbelievable, and it could come back to bite you very, very quickly. Let's not forget that, the week before, they were the World Club champions. The emotion of that. Not only the effort they had to put in to beat Brisbane, but then the emotion of achieving such an incredible feat. I've got people online arguing me they're not quadruple winners because they didn't win it in the same season. Go and give your head a wobble. That's not their fault. That's not their fault when they win it. Yes, it's not a calendar quadruple, but are all 4 trophies in their cabinet? Yeah, they are. They've won the quadruple. I'm not going to split hairs over that. From there, they've got to get on a plane. They've got to travel to Vegas. And then the social media bit, KR went big style. And I think it was a marketing exercise. There was an NRL audience there. They were keen to see him because they beat Brisbane. Willie Peters was all over podcasts. The players were all over podcasts. They were all over it. Were they focusing too little on the game? That's for them to go and, unpack. Whereas Leeds, for me, were a little bit more reserved. And I have to say, and, I'm going to bring you in on this point, Steph. The Andy Bell erasure beginning. Now, look, it's theatre, it's marketing, it's box office. But if I'm Leeds Rhinos watching that at the start of that game, I'm thinking, what's all this about? There's two teams on this pitch. And for me, all of that, all the attention that KR got, the Andy Bell bit before the game, if I'm a Leeds Rhinos fan, I'm motivated. I'm ready to rock and roll. And all of these things combined for me led to the result.
It did feel a bit like, and rightly so, an extension of a victory parade for KR. That's the way it came across all week from a neutral fan point of thing. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing from a KR perspective. They earn the right to go out there as World Club champions and have all the shebang with it and all that kind of stuff. I think that the problem for KR is that Leeds didn't have any of those distractions. They looked to me like they went there on a business trip. They were there to work. They were there to get 2 points, and their sole focus, barring a few media things, what they had to do, just was focused on getting those 2 points. Where it didn't seem that way from a KR perspective. KR fans may say that's wrong. That wasn't the case, but just from an outsider looking in, it did come across as a bit of a victory parade. But you've got to let KR have a bit of slack here, in terms of what they've had to do, the emotions they've been through, the efforts they've been through. A lot of people were predicting a KR loss just because of that before we even kicked the ball. So I think to go hard on them for that performance would be a bit unfair. But that shouldn't detract from a ruthless. I mean, that was probably one of the best Leeds displays I've seen in the Super League era. I think they were that dominant. And it wasn't, yes, Sivo got the highlights with it, but I thought players like Brodie Croft were unbelievable. Jake Connor was really good for them. Cooper Jenkins had a great cameo coming on there off the bench. So, yeah, it's a really dominant performance by Leeds.
Absolutely. And Greg, again, probably armchair supporters sat at home, but can you believe the audacity that some of the online posts, KR should refund their fans for such a shoddy performance, having won a quadruple for them? Could you believe that?
Listen, these things happen. As a Warrington fan, I know all too well. These things happen.
No, you don't know. No, you don't. You don't know how to win a quadruple. Behave yourself.
No, I mean, travelling miles to be disappointed, mate. Know all about that. We won 4 games on the bounce once. Don't give me that rubbish. It was almost a repeat of last year's Vegas, where Warrington bought into the showbiz, KR bought into the showbiz, Wigan and Leeds were very in the background, and Wigan and Leeds came out on top in both those respective games. So, I listening to the commentary as well, somebody's put in the chat how Connor didn't get picked for England. I thought, Brian Carney was a lot more vocal on that about things like that than he is back in England, talking about why wasn't Connor in the Ashes squad, and he seemed to bounce really well off Fozzie with the kind of the comments like that. So I enjoyed the commentary once it started going. Once we actually got sound, I actually enjoyed the commentary as well from the game.
Don't get me started on sound. Don't get me started on sound. This weekend was diabolical. What's going on with the referees, I will never know. And again, it just makes us look amateur. You wouldn't see that in football. I don't think I've ever seen that in football. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've seen a football referee have to go to the side for his mic. It's the same company producing the games that is Sky. Why are the comms of rugby league officials? So it's like they want to keep it down, so they pay little for it. It's like they try deliberately to devalue the product. And people say I'm being harsh. It's not deliberate, but it's always rugby league. It's definitely not seeing any other sport.
It's because it's outsourced to a third-party company. and most of the games are broadcast from an iPad in a guy sat in a car park.
Well, there you go.
And that's not even joking. That's what it is.
Well, let's say hello to Dave Monks because he's very keen for me to say hello. Hello, Dave. Hello, Dave Monks. The two Daves. Hello to you. In the chat, and I was going to say this, and absolutely right. So, Kevin Ashcroft has passed away yesterday, aged 81. A Warrington and Lee former player, of course, won trophies with both teams. Distinguished career, played for his country, played for Great Britain. Our condolences, gentlemen, to all of his family, friends, those who played with him, and of course the two clubs.
Yeah, very sad news. A great player, scored Warrington's first try at Wembley in '74. Yeah, sad news, and condolences to his family and his friends.
Obviously, he retired by the well. I think I was 3 when he retired, so I didn't get to see Kev that much. But Steph, you're younger than me, so probably the same again. But heard a lot about this player. He's very well respected, isn't he, in the game of rugby league, and certainly in the towns of Lee, Warrington, Salford. Very, very sad. This indeed.
Yeah, but I didn't get to see him play, but I knew Kev personally. He worked in the commercial department at Lee with my granddad. His time there. So from being a 6-year-old ball boy, Kevin was around the Lee club and did a lot of the tough stuff as well when Lee were right in the doldrums. Kev actually got Derek Beaumont involved at Lee. Right. So when Derek started his business and the first consortium was born, so wonderful player, part of the 71 heroes at Lee who won the first Challenge Cup the second Challenge Cup, but the one most recently before 23. But no, a legend. What a player, and what a genuinely good guy as well. You know, who's always frequenting the pubs around Lee, and lots of stories and great memories of Kev, and he'll be sadly missed.
He will, like I say, our condolences. Another one of the rugby league family lost, but what a stellar career, and he has left many memories that people will cherish for the rest of their lives. Our hearts go out to his family and to his friends. Right, okay, let's carry on. Let's get into the big debate. I just want to have another chat. I mean, you know, the beautiful thing this year about Super League Raw Weekly is we're getting into some quality debate. We're not trying to rush through. We haven't got a lot to get through, but I want. Me and Steph were talking about this last week, and I felt it was important that we started here. The big kickoff, the third man in the tackle debate. Now, look, there's a lot of players at the moment going out to injury. Too many players going out to injury at this moment in time. A lot of ACLs. Fortunately, Bailey Hodgson's is a PCL, I believe. So that's a positive. He's not out for the season. And you know, there's a lot of people throwing mud. Three have happened against Wigan and all of that. I don't really want to go there. But what I would say is this, and Wigan aren't the only team to do this. You see this across Super League. But the third man in the tackle, when a man is virtually stationary with 2 up top, this third going in around the legs, for me, it's got to stop. This is something that we need to cut out of our game, and it needs to be banned is the wrong word. Do I have any issues with somebody going around the legs to drag somebody down to the floor? No, but you can do that without coming in with the shoulder at full tilt. I think if a player comes in to a stationary man or near stationary man to the side, full tilt with the shoulder, off. It's uncalled for. And I think what, for me as well, the referees have got to do, they've got to call hell quicker in these situations so that the player who's about to do that doesn't do that. Because these ACLs, PCLs, MCLs, what's to say that isn't the start of that injury? That then it progressively gets worse through the game. And like I say, it's not, you know, all clubs do this. All clubs are guilty of this. Greg, I'll bring you in first on this. This, for me, is something that the game needs to, pardon the pun, tackle and get rid of.
100%, Dave. For me, it's up there with hit drops. You know, I think Joffa, when you look at it, that's mighty suspect that could have been a hit drop tackle on Thursday night. But yeah, you know,
the Gary one.
Yeah, the Joffa one where that would look very, very suspicious, like a hit drop to me. But yeah, they are dangerous tackles. We saw what happened to Ratchford in the grand final a few years ago, and you hope that players aren't being sent out there to deliberately hurt fellow professionals, but it should be as soon as a player stops moving, nobody should be allowed to attack that player from below the waist, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I think certainly 10 minutes in the sin bin will eradicate it. And referees, you're right, should be calling held a lot quicker and should be stamping down this tackle. There's been a hell of a lot of injuries this season, and you've seen it all the time. So agree with you 100%, Dave. Get rid of it in the game, out of the game. We don't need it. We don't need professionals going out there to injure other professionals.
Well, I don't think, and I think we've got to be clear here. I don't think we're going out to injure.
No.
I don't think, but the bottom line is, it's a brutal sport. It's a hard game. But that, for me, is one of those moments where you go, no, it's just not needed. I would hope nobody is, doing it with the intent.
You would like to hope that it's not being done intentionally.
Well, yeah, you would, and I don't think it is. But I think as long as that tackle isn't outlawed, it's like the shoulder charge. The shoulder charge was outlawed. Happy days. Nobody's interested, are they? And it's the same with this for me. Late to the party, Deb Hasty. You are unnoticed. Only joking. Good to see you, Deb. Richie Taylor, new one in the chat. He's in agreement. Doesn't like it. Doesn't like it at all. Also doesn't like it when Wigan lift in the tackle. Richie, good to see you, mate. Make sure that you subscribe to all of our social medias, mate, including YouTube. That'd be absolutely marvelous. Steph, we had a long debate. Over to you. You two don't like this, do you?
No. Just for a reference, Richie Taylor's Shandy Bass, the famous
Shandy. Good to see Shandy. Carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
No, it's. I mean, we've got to have proof that it's doing damage first and foremost to outlaw something, but it looks to me like it could be a contributing factor when you've got a standing leg hitting it with, and not being able to defend it either or see it coming, so you're not bracing yourself for it sometimes. That doesn't help either. I think the only answer to it is, which could be a positive, is that we want a faster game. So as soon as it's held up, those tackles have gone in up high. If momentum stopped, the referee calls held, and we don't have anybody else in the tackle. That's the easiest way to do it. It'd be interesting to see whether that did have an effect and whether we saw less injuries. But looking at some of them, they don't look good, do they? And it could be a contributing factor.
Yes, it could be. I think we're all in agreement. And I just wanted to put it out there. I think this is something that has to be looked at as a matter of urgency. It's a bad look. And I do believe that it is causing, certainly for lower limbs, to become weaker, maybe, which might be, as Steph says, a contributing factor. I'm not a physio. I don't know. But for me, it's uncalled for, and it needs to stop. Big thank you to all the members as well who have paid in full now for Magic Weekend. Again, become a member here at Super League Raw. 57 of us going to Village Street at Magic for both the Saturday and Sunday games. Cannot wait for that. Got a great deal with the Rugby Football League. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for paying in full for that. We look forward to announcing travel details a bit earlier to the occasion. Become a member today for as little as a latte a month. You could join the greatest community in Rugby League. Believe me, until you've joined it, you just don't know what you're missing, folks. You really, really don't. Right. Okay, it's time to announce the team of the month. Before we do that, let's remind people about our Super League Raw trophy and how we allocate the points. So each week we select a 3-2-1. A 3-2-1 for the top three performances. 3 points for the best, and then all the way down to one, the top three players. So that's how those points are initially given. Then if the player goes on to be in team of the week, of course, beat other players from around the league in their position, they get an extra point. If they are in the team of the month, they get an extra 2 because they have had to have been consistent over 3 rounds. Players who haven't played all 3 rounds are ineligible to be in team of the month. It's about consistency across 3 games. So that's how we do it here at Super League Raw. So by being in team of the month, they get an extra 2 points, and the player who gets player of the month, which we will be announcing tonight for February, gets an additional 3 points. That is how the Super League Raw trophy is made up. And now it is time to announce the February team of the month here at Super League Raw. Team of the month is sponsored by David Presley as Elvis. If you want your wedding all shook up, contact David Presley today. It's the Super League Raw Team of the Month for February. And at fullback is the Wigan Warriors, Jay Field. He's had 4 tries. He made 4 try assists, 22 tackles, 5 clean breaks, 64 carries, 517 metres made. He's been in the week 2 and 3 Team of the Weeks. On the wing is Leeds Rhinos' Ryan Hall. He scored 3 tries, including his 350th, 11 tackleables, 2 clean breaks, 51 carries for 427 metres. That's an average gain of 8.4 metres. He was in week 2, team of the week. In centre is Wigan Warriors' Adam Kieran. He scored 1 try, made 3 try assists, kicked 17 of his 20 attempts at goal, 5 tackleables, 26 carries for 146 metres. This is all about consistency, as Adam has not featured in any team of the week. At centre is Bradford Bulls' Wonga Blake. He scored 4 tries, made 2 try assists, 2 clean breaks, 16 tackleables, 49 carries for 376 metres. He has been in all 3 team of the weeks. On the wing is Wigan Warriors' Zach Eckersley. He scored 4 tries, made 2 try assists, 5 clean breaks, 8 tackleables, 44 carries for 311 metres. He was in week 1, team of the week. At standoff is Brodie Croft of the Leeds Rhinos, back to Man of Steel form. He scored 4 tries, 2 try assists, 5 clean breaks, 10 tackleables, 41 carries for 252 metres and went back-to-back in weeks 2 and 3, team of the week. Also going back-to-back in weeks 2 and 3 is Harry Smith. 3 tries, 3 try assists, 3 clean breaks, 8 tackleables, 29 attacking kicks and 44 kicks in general play. At prop is Cooper Jenkins of the Leeds Rhinos. He has scored 3 tries. He's had 68 tackles, 11 tackleables, 3 clean breaks, 41 carries for 326 metres. He's been in weeks 1 and 3, team of the weeks. At 9 is Darryl Clark of St Helens. 3 tries, 102 tackles with an efficiency of 97%. His tackle bust have been 6, 13 runs from dummy half for 129 metres. He too has gone back-to-back in weeks 2 and 3, team of the weeks. At prop is Luke Thompson of the Wigan Warriors. 64 tackles, 6 from marker and 95% efficiency. He's had 1 tackle bust, 45 carries and no other prop has made more metres. He's got 442. He was in week 3's team of the week. In second row is St Helens' Shane Wright. He scored a try, had 1 try assist, 8 tackleables, 92 tackles, 44 carries, 290 metres. He too has gone back-to-back in weeks 2 and 3, team of the weeks. In second row alongside him will be Callum Watkins of Leeds Rhinos. 1 try assist, 12 tackle bust, 95 tackles, an efficiency of 98%, 42 carries, 241 metres. Just like Adam Kieran, he has not featured in any team of the weeks. Incredible consistency. And finally, at loose forward is Joe Mellor of Bradford Bulls. 1 try assist, 10 tackle bust, 139 tackles at a 97% efficiency, 47 carries, 229 metres. He was in week 3, team of the week. And on the bench this month will be Toulouse Olympics, Ollie Ashelbot, Huddersfield Giants, George Flanagan, Wigan Warriors, Junior Insemba and St Helens, Joe Shorrocks. This is your team of the month for February. So there you go, team of the month for February. Sharpie, of course, didn't listen to the instructions. The reason Sivo is not in there, he didn't play round 1. So there you go. So just, keep up, Sharpie, lad. But you're right, he's been incredible in weeks 2 and 3. But unlike other publications, we want consistency. We don't judge it on 1 game as opposed to others. We judge it on all 3. So I'm sure if Sivo carries on the form that he's in, he will be in March, without doubt. Greg, great to see so many Bradford Bulls in there.
It really is. Joe Mellor, I'm glad he's in there. He's been absolutely superb at the start of this season. So hard-working and goes under the radar because he maybe not the most spectacular. I mean, am I right in saying he's gone from 9 to 13 at the Bulls? So, he's not one of those spectacular players, but he's done so well. And Wonga Blake, as I think I said last week, he's really kind of answering all the critics he had when he was at Saints. So delighted to see a couple of Bulls in there.
Absolutely. And also other players that perhaps, I'm just going to stay with the 13 for now before going to the bench, Steph. But, players like Cooper Jenkins, who has had a phenomenal start in the absence of Mikola Jeletsky.
Yeah, he showed glimpses last season, but this season I got to see him firsthand against Lee in the round 1, and he was brilliant then. And I said he's going to be a talent for the future. He's going to, definitely one to watch. He's going to be right up there at the top of the stats this year. Phenomenal player, and I thought, he was great in Vegas as well, wasn't he?
He was indeed. Sharpie going in again in terms of Joe Shorrocks. Absolutely, Joe Shorrocks and Joe Mellor, not an awful lot between them, but Mellor's tackling. I mean, his tackle efficiency incredible. And, I question, would Bradford Bulls be 2 from 3 without Joe Mellor? Joe Mellor's impact at the Bulls in those games has been quite simply exceptional. And it's for that reason his defensive efforts just pip Joe Shorrock's efforts. And, we've got to remember as well, Joe Mellor is playing in a Bradford team. Joe's playing in a Saints team. There is a bit of a difference in terms of the personnel that surround those two players. Mellor has been simply exceptional. So that's the team of the month. Now, of course, later in the show, we will be asking you to get in the chat, not now, to let us know who you believe of the starting 13 should be player of the month. Who's your player of the month from those 13 players? We don't, of course, include the bench because the bench were not good enough to start in the team. That said, I think it's the first time ever that I've had a bench with 2 fullbacks on it. But I just could not overlook Ollie Ashelbot and I couldn't overlook George Flanagan. Even though Flanagan has been in a beaten team, Greg, George Flanagan's performances as an individual for the Huddersfield Giants, if the rest of the team could emulate his consistency and quality, they would be doing a lot better.
Yeah, I think we saw an example of that against Wakefield where he almost single-handedly dragged Huddersfield back into that game in that second half. What a great prospect. He's going to be a phenomenal player. He really is. Let's hope Huddersfield can start to build a team around him. Otherwise, they could very well lose him in a few seasons to somebody else.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And Steph, Ollie Ashelbot, I mean, up until Thursday, I'd have had him as a shoe-in at 1, but then Field's performance against Lee just catapulted him above Ashelbot, unfortunately. But like I say, Ashelbot 2 rounds in was a shoe-in for team of the month, but Field snatched it.
Yeah, a bit like Mellor, what you said about Mellor at Bradford. I think Ashelbot, everything that Toulouse have done well seemed to come through him, and and also he's, for a promoted side to show the stability he's shown in a crucial position. I think that's leading from the front from him for that Toulouse side, and he's given him a lot of confidence. So, he gets a place in team of the month, albeit on the bench.
Absolutely. So, like I say, later in the show, we'll bring that graphic back up so you can remind yourselves who is in the 13. We'll ask you for your opinion in terms of who you believe should be the player of the month. And Mike Owen there, the only prediction by all accounts he got wrong this weekend was, FC. Are you in our prediction league, Mike? Because we can't substantiate that, my friend. So why don't you, if you're that good, you've got a chance, my friend, of winning our prediction league. Go to Super Brew, get yourself on there, get your predictions in, join the Super League Raw, and let's see those predictions. We'd love to see them, Mike. We'd love to see them. And then we will bow to your superiority in predicting. Outstanding, sir. Well done. And congratulations on getting so many right. You are a legend. Right, okie dokie. Let's move on. Where are we going next? Where are we going next? He says we're going next to this. Banging or hanging? Yes, it's time for hanging or banging. We're going to have a quick look through other quick news stories. Of course, had some great debate already this evening in terms of other things that we wanted to discuss in a bit more detail. But let's just have a quick chat. First and foremost, Joe Cater. Couldn't believe this. Couldn't believe it. 6.25 penalty points he's been given this week. That's what he was given. No ban. If you actually go onto the RFL website, no mention of discounted points for fine payments. No mention of that in the actual rules. I've gone right the way through it. I wanted to check it. Nothing there. And it clearly states 6.25, which is how many cumulative points he got in round number 3. Big word, that one, Greg. Three rounds. His cumulative points were 6.25. Didn't get a ban. Just got a fine. Can somebody help me with that? Anybody? Is that...
And he was charged 3 times as well.
Yeah.
So it's 3 separate charges.
Yeah, but the points are 6.25.
Yeah, I don't know, Dave. Is the answer.
Rugby Football League, hanging or banging, boys. Where that's concerned, we need to know, don't we?
Well, I think the hanging part of it is not knowing where players are at, and I know they give you the total for when they get when they've done something wrong. It tells you how many they're on, but to be able to see anything.
The reason I'm pulling faces, Mr. Sale, is I have it on good authority that a member of the Super League Raw family has actually emailed the Rugby Football League for a copy of such a chart, and the answer they got back was, we don't produce it. How can you not produce it? How is that an answer? How can they come back to that member and say, we don't produce it? There must be some document somewhere that they could easily transfer or put on their website to show where all these player points are. And if it's not being produced, is that why Joe Cater's not got a ban? Do we actually know what our arm and elbows are, Greg?
It's probably been written down on the back of a fag packet and binned by accident on Friday night. I think we've got to be careful because we were all crying for a better disciplinary system. We were all crying for less players to get banned and for it to be more visual, to be more transparent. But there's still lots of questions to be asked about the disciplinary process. They must keep a spreadsheet somewhere with all these points on. They have to. They have to.
Well, and look, Steph's said it many, many times. We like the new disciplinary system, but when there's things like that, 6.25 no ban, we don't produce spreadsheets. It doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy inside like you just had a nice bowl of porridge, does it, Mr. Sal?
Well, I think clarity stops conspiracy. So
exactly.
And if you've got, I mean, it's very simple. They've already got a disciplinary page, haven't they, on the RFL's website? So why not just have a running total of every player that you can search on? And it's only looking at a spreadsheet in the back end of the system. So it would be very, very simple for them to do it. But it's the RFL, isn't it?
It is the RFL, Steph. Steph, Liam Knight going home, hanging or banging for FC?
Hanging for FC, who's been a pretty decent player, as very, very big presence on the field. But the last thing you want at any club is a player that doesn't want to be there. And if Hull FC have made that less difficult for him to leave, then fair play to FC. I think it may work in their favour, in terms of getting someone off the cap, so they can recruit maybe a fullback. Because I think forwards they're pretty good on, I think it's banging for both him and for the way FC treated it.
Fair enough. Greg, Derek Beaumont, an hour before kickoff, comes out with a statement digging up last year, banging or hanging?
It's not a good look for the game, is it? I'm going to go hanging on this one.
Yeah, I don't see what point that serviced, quite frankly. I would completely and utterly agree with that. We'll have both of you in on this one. Peter Volandes, of course, we put on our feeds his interview with Sky, which I thought was box office. Steph, the failure of the British game is due to the poor administration. How can you not promote the best sport in the world? If you want to make profit, if the owners of rugby league clubs want to make profit and not losses, they need to sign it over to me. Banging or hanging?
I think it's banging, as long as the right protections are put in place for the clubs that are in Super League. And if they're going to get more money from it, and it's going to, we've just talked about administrating it better with the disciplinary thing, haven't we? So I think more from the off the field stuff than anything. The quality of camera work would be my starting point. If we want to sell the greatest game, we should be able to see it. That'd be a starting point. So having some decent cameras, and this comes back to the sound issues and all that. It's because it's being done on a shoestring. Apart from the two main games that they show, the rest of it's outsourced to a third-party company on the cheap. So the sooner we get that right, the better. And if that can come from NRL investment and also give people and clubs stability, but there is a big caveat on that clubs just won't be kicked out, because these are businesses at the end of the day, especially well-run ones. We don't want that to be affected. It's got to be promoted from what's currently there.
Greg, banging and hanging for you, that one?
Oh, absolutely banging. It's we've spoke about this a lot, and I think we all agree this has got to happen for the good of the game in this country. A lot of clubs have got owners to be thankful. I've got a lot to be thankful for to their owners, but surely the owners want to be in a position whereby they're not having to bail out their clubs at the end of a season because of the debt caused by COVID, by a TV deal that doesn't give value to the clubs that it's representing. We don't have, I don't think at this moment in time, a TV deal in place for 2027. Flanders is negotiating a TV deal at the same time. And I think he said that, this has to happen before this TV deal is negotiated for the NRL. So for me, yes, if the NRL can get involved, it's absolutely banging. And there's a lot of people saying that it would mean a return to winter rugby. But I've not seen Vlandis say that yet.
No,
But
not
you
either.
know, yeah, but you know what? If that's, I know a lot of people aren't fans of returning to winter rugby, but if that's the price we have to pay to save the game and to keep playing the game and to invest in the game and get rugby league where it deserves to be, then, you know, maybe that's the sacrifice we have to make to go back to winter rugby. There are lots of advantages with that, with winter rugby. We could have the Challenge Cup final at the end of the season again, where it belongs. We could get, instead of having to sign Aussie players at the end of their contracts, we could get internationals coming over to do guest appearances like they used to do in the 70s and 80s, the Peter Sterlings, the Mal Meningas. Our players could then go over there and get experience of the NRL. That improves our game because their experience against these players. The international game benefits. So, you know, for me, in one word, banging.
There wasn't one, but we got your point. What I would say is there's one here, Russian Lizard 94. It's all about opinions. He said it's only me who thinks the NRL will be the true death of British rugby league if it was to take over. What I would ask you is this: if today you had to sell your house as an investment and invest in the NRL or Super League, one making millions of dollars in profit and one losing money at the rate of knots, which one are you going for? And who has made that happen? Peter V'landys. So for me personally, Peter V'landys is not going to come to Super League to destroy it. The absolute opposite. He sees the importance of a strong England, a strong Great Britain, and a strong international game. So and look at the way in which he spoke about Hull KR Leeds fans and what they brought to Magic to the Vegas trip. So for me, I know where I'd be putting my money. If somebody said you have to invest your money in either the NRL or Super League, I'm only investing it one place. Why wouldn't you trust the man?
I'd like Russian Lizard to expand on that. I'd put in the chat why you think it's like turkeys voting for Christmas. Just to not so we can criticise you, just to get your take on it.
Well, turkeys voting for Christmas is the current way we do it because the owners have all the say and they will do it what's right for them. Whereas what V'landys is saying is he would do what's right for British Rugby League first and foremost. That's what he would do. And that's what, for me, look, we've had all these years of money going up the wall and the rest of it. We've got to do something. I, for one, and people can say I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I say, we're all entitled to an opinion. For me, I'd be delighted. Steph, David Nofoaluma, out from in from the cold. Of course, Halifax. Of course, haven't played for 3 weeks. Halifax, and of course, David Nofoaluma was released and went to York. What a debut! What a debut from David Nofoaluma. I'll let you say banging because I know you will. These are the facts, Steph. Look at this for a debut. Over to you.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, wasn't it? You know, it was superb from him and scored some great tries. Fair play to York for picking him up as well, you know. But he seems to have slotted straight in there, doesn't he? And those meters, carries, you know, the workload what he was putting in, phenomenal effort. So long may that continue.
For the purposes of the podcast, in that game against FC, David Nofoaluma, 2 tries, 8 tackleables, 2 breaks, 2 tackles, 1 offload, no errors, 19 carries, 129 metres, and averages 6.8 metres a carry, no penalties conceded as well. It was an absolute barnstormer of a debut, and I caught up with David earlier today. Afternoon, David. How are you?
Oh, David.
Yeah, 2 Davids. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. As debuts go for a new side, that's almost perfect, isn't it? You must have been over the moon with your performance.
Yeah, most definitely. I think I was prepared for it. I was definitely confident. You know, I think what helped me be confident was the experience that I've had in the game for a long time. So I kind of just, you know, it's just, you know, Mash kind of said to me, man, just play your game, do what you do, and you'll be all right. So I did exactly that, and I was a bit surprised with my lungs because I had 3 weeks since I played a game, so that was good.
Sometimes the simplest messages are the best, aren't they? As a player, to just go out and express yourself, and that's that's what you did. This weekend, you're going to be coming up probably again, if you stay on the wing, Josh Fewless at Warrington. That'll be the edge that you're on. Josh is one of the most I wouldn't say underrated, but he's just one of those players that he's a 9 out of 10 for Warrington week in, week out. How much do you know of Josh, and how much are you looking forward to going up against him?
I don't know much about him. Obviously, just coming up to the Super League, it's all new to me. But respect to him for putting the work on and performing. And I look forward to coming up against him, and hopefully it will be a good battle. And it's just one of those things. I'll play my game, he plays his game, and the best wins on pitch.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a minute ago that you feel as if it's almost a movie, what's happened to you. So let's go to a fighting movie, Rocky 2. In Rocky 2, he ends up winning, of course. What's your sequel going to be like at the weekend?
Oh, do you know what? To be fair, everyone's watched Rocky. I've watched it.
Oh, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rocky 1's like your story. Rags to riches, based on what's happened to you the last few years. And then, of course, in Rocky 2, he ends up winning the World Championship. So there I go. You need to go and binge watch that when you can put your feet up. And
I'm not really a TV person, so I might have to give it a watch.
Get absolutely. And in terms of now, obviously you're based there at York. It's a fresh outfit. There seems to be a really good feel-good factor in terms of what's coming out of York. I mean, I know that Mark's producing that with the players. Every player that we've spoken to, they seem to be very calm. They seem to be very content with life at York. Obviously, you're new into that group. Compared to other dressing rooms that you've gone into in your career thus far, where does this rank in terms of that togetherness?
Yeah, I think the honesty with each other. That's very important within a team. And the only team I would say that it could, slightly compare to is my time when I was with the Melbourne Storm. It's just a lot of things that go into it, which they have built. It's something that you can't just build over a short period of time. There's players here that the club has signed, and I'm sure they would have done some research or spoken to them like they have with me in terms of their character. And so important, your character as a person will build that strong relationships with each other, and I think that's what they have here.
Well, that's high praise indeed. I'm sure that Mark and the club will be delighted to hear that comparison. Finally, from me, delighted to have you in Super League. That performance that you put together at the MKM, you deserve to be on this stage. So go and enjoy it, and all the best to you.
Cheers, mate. I really appreciate it.
So there you go, David Nofoaluma there talking to me earlier on. Came across as a really stand-up guy, I have to say. Comparing York's current squad feel-good factor to the Melbourne Storm. That's very high praise indeed, isn't it, Mr. Nixon? I think Mark Applegarth will be over the moon to have heard that.
He'll be delighted. Yeah, I mean, you forget this guy's a Dally M Winger of the Year, I think in 2020. He's got over 100 tries in the NRL, so he's no slouch.
No.
But yeah, to compare York to Melbourne, yeah, wow, yeah. So he's clearly enjoyed his short time there already, and if he keeps playing like that, he's gonna be enjoying the game week in week out. What a great asset.
And exactly, Steph. I mean, like I said to David there at the end of that interview, that performance against Hull FC, that is worthy of the Super League stage, isn't it?
It's phenomenal. And, like Reggie just said, a guy who's played over, I think at West Tigers, wasn't it, where he played his best rugby. He went on loan, obviously, to Melbourne, 22, I think it was. Yeah. But no, he's a great player. And when he's fully fit, I think he's going to do some real damage in Super League. So great for him and great for York.
Absolutely. He's building a very good team down there, Mr. Applegarth. Looking forward to his company at the weekend. Speaking of attendances, as you know, I'm keeping an eye on attendances this year in terms of are they moving forward, are they not? In terms of comparable games, I'm taking Las Vegas out because, of course, that is what that is. You can't really take that, albeit we know that Vegas was up as an event, which was great. Super League attendances up 3.6% year on year, like-for-like games, and that was helped by one game. Lee was down 6.2 at Wigan. Warrington had 70 more fans in for the Wakefield game. Catalan was down 7%. Castleford Huddersfield was down 8.5%. But the power of Super League. In the Championship, Bradford Toulouse attracted 4,792 fans. They attracted 8,777 this weekend. The power of Super League. Well done to the Bradford Bulls. Many congratulations. I mean, if they can pull in over 10 for Catalan, just shy of 9 for Toulouse, when the away supporters from Yorkshire and Lancashire start to get into that ground, they're going to be having some bumper crowd. So we are all indebted to Bradford for making sure that the overall picture of Super League, like for like, in 2026 continues to go forward. The last thing I want to talk about in hanging and banging, I think we'd all agree it is hanging, was Huddersfield's performance against Castleford. You heard it in the trailer. Boys, I'm going to put a graphic on the screen just so it helps you to have your thoughts clear with regards to Huddersfield's plight at the moment. I think we'd all agree that Huddersfield's starting lineup should not be getting beat by the margin of 34 points to 8. But the bigger problem for Luke Robinson is the rest of those stats. Now, take your pick. Take your pick. It is not great reading. It really, really isn't. With the exception of kick return, where Huddersfield were 116 metres to Casford's 46 due to Mr. Flanagan. Everything else looks like a lot of work to do from Huddersfield. Steph, do you agree with me that Huddersfield side should have potentially, well, certainly been closer, and there was enough personnel on the field to win the game?
Yeah, definitely. And this is where, rightly so, there's been a lot of excuses for Huddersfield over the past couple of seasons. They have had more injuries than probably any other team, but they've still got injuries now. But I think everyone thought they were capable of being at least competitive at Cass, given Cass's recent form as well hasn't been fantastic. And there's something not right there at the moment, whether it's confidence with the players, whether it's confidence in the coach. I don't know, but as Ken Davey insinuated in your interview with him after the game last week, they need to get a win. They needed a performance, and I don't think they got that this weekend.
No, I mean, Greg, just for the purposes of the podcast, it was 6 tries to 2, possession 55-45. The next one, Greg, completion rate.
Yeah.
Suffered 93%. Huddersfield 68. 68.
That's criminal. That is absolutely criminal for a professional rugby league team to be that low down on completing the sets of 6. Robinson must be tearing his hair out. It's that is simply not good enough. And I'm surprised at the Castleford possession, given the amount of times that Huddersfield turned the ball over to only have 55%. So that's a sign that Castleford aren't possibly firing all cylinders as well, but they still managed to put 30 odd points past a really poor Giants side, and it hurts me to say that. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, it just simply, again, for the purposes of the podcast, playing the balls in the opposition's 20, 46, 35, Castleford, tackle bust 38, 18, Castleford. They did best part of 70 tackles, 80 tackles less, sorry. The tackle efficiency of Castleford was 4% better. 14 errors, Steph, to 3. 14 errors to 3. I mean, you combine that with the completion, of course, goes without possession. It's just, you're not winning anything, are you? You're not winning any game.
No, and this is where you can put a bit on the players rather than Luke Robinson in that respect. Luke doesn't coach them to make those errors. The players have got to take accountability for that. And it's putting them, errors is probably one of the biggest factors alongside 6 against and penalties that can have a dramatic result on the result of the game.
Yeah.
And when you're making, 4 times as many errors as your opposition, then it's not surprising you're going to be on the wrong end of a scoreline that's 4 times as much of what you're scoring. So it's pretty much a direct correlation normally. When error count is pretty even, you can normally get a pretty even game. It's a very good indicator in terms of a scoreline.
42, Dawn. 42 missed tackles, Huddersfield Giants in the game. It's a massive problem. However, at this moment in time, Ken Davitt continues to support Luke Robinson, which again is a credit to Ken. But with Hull KR, 2 games against KR on the horizon, I think Wigan are in the next 5 as well. It ain't getting any easier, and they're going to need to find answers, and very, very quickly. Now, before we move on, I'm just going to put that graphic back up just so that I can change it. This is banging. Banging. This is hanging. Absolutely hanging. This will hurt you, gentlemen. It really will. Look at the amount of talent that is out. It is absolutely frightening. I don't think I can remember a season where we've had so many injuries to players that are of a very high standard. Now, again, for the purposes of the pot, and these probably aren't all of them, I'm not including those that are out for HIA. I'm not including those that are coming back from injury shortly. For example, James Bell, who might be back this weekend, which we'd all agree is banging because he's a great player. But, on this graphic, I mean, it's a who's who. I mean, you could probably build 2, maybe 3 teams that would go and have a really good knock at any team in Super League. Steph, can you believe the faces that you're seeing on that graphic and the amount of them?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do this last year. It may be because there wasn't so many high-profile ones or whatever, but it does seem to be a hell of a lot of, really good players that are unavailable. And a lot of them with lower leg injuries as well, which is coming back to the point we were making earlier, isn't it? So, yeah, it's concerning. But if you're going to, I like to put the positive on things. Hopefully, we're getting all these injuries out of the way early on, and some of these players will be back, in the next couple of months.
And that's a good point, Greg, because, in the same spirit as what Steph's saying there, opportunity knocks now for the younger players. And we saw so many, like Owen Dagnalls of this world and all those type from last year come through. Opportunity to see tomorrow's talent today, and maybe some of those will take the chance.
Yeah, one man's misfortune is another's opportunity, isn't it? And you're quite right. I was going to say that before you asked the question. I think I've seen on a chat somewhere today, Steph, that you could be having 2 Super League debutants in your next game. So, such as the length of your injury list. But yeah, I mean, let's hope we're getting these out of the way early doors, and let's hope we get to see some of tomorrow's talent really ripping it up, and let's see how bright the future is for the game. We've had a lot of young talent come through over the last 2 years. Let's keep that conveyor belt moving along and getting them the experience they need.
Absolutely. And Rebecca Frey, thank you very much indeed. I'm having as it's your 40th, Rebecca, I'm going to have a nice Glenlivet on you. There you are. And I will make sure that I will buy you that back at the weekend when I see you in York. But thank you very much indeed, Rebecca, for that super chat. We do appreciate it. And before we move on to Little Ol, not very happy this week, Little Ol. Not very happy this week, Little Ol. Before we move on to Little Ol, I just want to tidy a few things up. I saw a lot of nonsense online over the weekend reference Jack Smith and giving try on field. It was because it was an NRL production. So that was for the benefit of the Australian viewers. It was agreed before the game that would remain because that's what the Australians do. So that is the reason why Jack Smith was giving try, no try, because that is what was agreed before the game. There was a lot of people saying that he didn't know what he was doing. He did. It was agreed before the game. So just wanted to just tidy that one up a little bit in case people got a little bit filthy for Jack. I thought Jack Smith had a decent game, if I'm being honest. I was very impressed with Jack in that game at the weekend. Yeah. Credit is due. And without further ado, do you think Little Ol will be talking KR this week? Because I don't.
What Would Oliver Say is proudly sponsored by South Coast Lane Carpets. From shag pile to vinyl, nylon to wool, you are guaranteed to find the right fit for your home. Contact them today and tell them Oliver sent you. is what would Oliver say at Super League Raw? One of the biggest things everyone is talking about, apart from OKR, is discipline and refereeing. I looked at the disciplinary records and counted 34 players that have been charged by the match review panel over the last 3 rounds. Last season, at the same stage, it was about 27, so we're already seeing way more disciplinaries. It's clear referees are trying to let the game flow more, with which most fans actually want because it's becoming the game faster and more exciting. But now, it's being dealt after the round and the points build up over time, so suspensions could really start to affect teams, with key players missing important games which might affect results later in the season. So, should more players be punished on the night with sin bins or red cards, so it's immediate and benefits the opposition? Or is it better to review the incidents after the round when it can be carefully looked at? What do you think, Super League Raw?
If I was you, I'd be very worried, gentlemen. You know, 12 years old, getting into last year's stats, getting into this year's stats. Embarrassing, boys. It's embarrassing. You know, if you don't do your research, it's embarrassing. The lad's an absolute legend. No mention, of course. That I love that exasperated, unlike KR.
Who are?
Good on you all. But you know what? He's right. I mean, on report, we saw a bit of that this week. Make a decision. If it's on report for me, give it 10. Greg, last week you came up with a belter. You know, give it 10. Let the video ref review it. Is it a yellow? And even from a 10 point of view, rather, because we've got the technology now, give him 10. And if the video ref says you've got it wrong, he can come back on after 2 minutes. He just goes in the air and says, you know what? We've reviewed that. Nothing in it. He's coming back on. Or actually, we've reviewed that. It's worse than you thought it was. You need to upgrade to a red. That because we'd agree with Ollie's point. The team that has had the injustice done to them don't benefit, do they?
No. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because we want to see the best players on the pitch. You know, I'm still filthy over Paul Vaughan 3 years ago. But and I tell you what, Ben Curry was lucky. 2 years ago, Ben Curry would have got a red in the first minute of that game against Wake because he hits Smoothie with his shoulder. Yeah. 2 years ago, that's a straight red. He's a lucky guy. It's an absolutely brilliant question in that I don't think there's a simple answer to it. We want the speed. We want the game to speed up. We want the players to stay on the pitch. We were complaining 2 or 3 years ago when Reds were being dished out like nobody's business. And there was a blatant yellow in the Cass Giants game at the weekend that went unpunished, and then 2 minutes later, a Huddersfield player was sin bin for holding down in the tackle. It's such a difficult one to answer that because in the heat of the moment, we can all slag referees off. God knows, enough people have complained about me slagging a ref off in the past when I've been at games. So I'm no angel and no saint in that regards. But in the heat of the moment, when you've got in the back of the head, I've got to keep players on the pitch. I've got to keep the game moving. It's a real difficult one to answer. And it's a great question.
It is a great question. Steph, which games, honestly, it all gets jumbled up eventually in your head, doesn't it? But there was a game this weekend where a player got penalised for holding down a player, but he was trying to keep him down so that he got assessed because he thought he took a bad knock. And he got a penalty against him. I can't remember. It might have been one of the Vegas ones. But basically...
It was a Vegas game.
It was a Vegas one, wasn't it? And basically, there was a tackle. The player looked as though he was a little bit wobbly. So the defending player got hold of him and, as I say, no, stay down. And then the referee blew up for a penalty because he was holding down in the tackle.
Yeah, you'd like to think that was probably a misread from the ref, wouldn't you? If that was the case, but no, I agree. Was it the Milne one, wasn't it? I think was it Milne.
Yeah, I think it was. I couldn't remember the player.
When you think, we don't give a yellow for that, but then we give it for a technical infringement of slowing the play ball there. Or the yellow cards and stuff like that. Really, unless it's massively persistent, penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty, should be reserved for foul play for me. But I hate on report. There's no reason now wow, we've got video refs every game, we need an on report. Just like you said, make a decision, and be that the right one or the wrong one, just make our decision.
Yeah.
In terms of his point on the amount of players going to disciplinary, I think we're trying to over sanitize the game. For me, disciplinary, the words in the title, it should be for serious foul play. We're giving players points now for a slight late tackle, and obviously these, you can argue it's the player's responsibility, and if players consistently doing it, then they'll get punished because they're consistently doing it, and I get all that. But it shouldn't even be. Why are we wasting our time at a disciplinary panel over minor infringements that have had no impact on the game, on player welfare, on injuries, on anything? It's stupid. Let's get players in disciplinary who've gone to take someone's head off, who've done something deliberately, to go and injure a player. That's what disciplinary is before. That's what players should be getting banned for, not minor technical 2 seconds late to a tackle that have had no impact and caused no injury to any players.
Couldn't agree with you more. Dawn Baker's asking how Matt Davis is after getting hit flush in the face with a rugby ball. By all accounts, he's got rubber in his nose. He did fail his HIA, but he'll be back very, very soon, is what I would say to that one. But no, well done, Matt. Well done, mate. We hope you're well. I'm sure you are. Anyway, right. We've got to be, we've got to keep this flowing. We've got to keep this moving. It's now time for a Vegas edition Team of the Week. The Super League Raw Team of the Week is proudly sponsored by the Pentagon Motor Group. Visit their website today to find the make and model that you desire at the right price. It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 3 of the 2026 season. Here we go again. At fullback is the mirage of Super League J Field. When he's on, he's like molten lava flowing down the field without anyone going near him as he's too hot to handle. At 2 is the man who had as many tries as the Bellagio fountains. Maker Sevo sprayed off Davis like he was a desert rat and shot in the air to collect dropouts to devastating effect. At 3 is the immovable Wonga Blake. Just like Fremont Street itself, Wonga might seem old hat, but his displays in 2026 would be fitting of a Cirque du Soleil. Talk about a wow factor. Go on, son! At 4 is Toby King of the Warrington Wolves. Put this performance in the biggest suite in Caesar's Palace, we say, as Toby is clearly aware there are others breathing down his neck at the wire this season, but he says, bring it on. At 5 is Ethan Ryan. It was like watching Elvis at the International Hotel. He shaked, rattle and rolled Toulouse this weekend and sent them packing to Heartbreak Hotel. At 6 is Brodie Croft, who produced an MGM grand performance against the Robins. Yes, his numbers came up as the Rhinos cashed in with a jackpot of a performance. At 7 is Harry Smith of the Wigan Warriors. Not since King Arthur claimed Excalibur have we seen such mastery. At 7, this is back-to-back picks in Team of the Week for Harry, and he takes his place at our round table once again. At 8 is Cooper Jenkins of the Rhinos, who tackled and busted his way through the Robins, leaving craters as large as the Grand Canyon itself. In this form, Cooper could leave many in the dust. At 9 is Darryl Clark of St Helens. Sometimes watching Darryl play 9 is as easy as lounging on a gondola at the Venetian Hotel with the patrons watching as you glide by with limoncello in hand. Quality! At 10 is Luke Thompson of the Wigan Warriors. Just like Wynn Hotel is renowned for its upscale amenities and beautiful landscaping, Thompson is a top-tier front row with exceptional physique. One for the ladies. At 11 is Shane Wright of the Saints for the second week running. This was a Kenny Rogers display. He didn't count his money while he was sitting at the table. The time for counting his exceptional effort is now, because the dealing's done, and so are the Catalan Dragons. At 12 is Junior Insemba. Watching Junior is like riding the zip wire in downtown Vegas. Talk about high adrenaline, all-out heart-pounding sensation. Oh yes, Junior is back to beast mode in 26. And finally, at 13 is Joe Mellor, the man you underestimate at the poker table at your peril. But how many times does he have those pocket aces to take the pot and the bragging rights? Just ask Toulouse. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Team of the Week for round number 3. So there it is, the Team of the Week for round number 3, gentlemen. Again, Plenty of Bradford players in that as well. Steph, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on Team of the Week?
Yeah, and I think Ethan Ryan had a phenomenal game. Player that's been at quite a few Super League clubs. He was great, and thought he had a really good game. Jai Field, such a shame that he's it's a non-related injury that's seen. It's appendicitis, isn't it? So such a shame for him. Well, Alex Sharp has got his wish with Mika Sivo. How could you not have him in Team of the Week this week after that performance? But I think the really exciting ones for me, and it's the easy ones, but Brodie Croft and Harry Smith, I think they've firmly put their hat in the ring for the Dream Team 6 and 7 so far. They've had a phenomenal start to the season, and they were both exceptional. You've already mentioned Junior Nsemba back to form. He was showing 2024 season. And Cooper Jenkins, I'm such a big fan of him. I've mentioned him a few times tonight already. I think he's definitely one who's going to really burst onto the scene this year for Leeds.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg, I'm sure you're as delighted as everybody. I mean, a couple of people unlucky. I would go as far as to say there are a few in there. I mean, Jake kind of had a good game, don't get me wrong, but I just thought Harry Smith's performance against Lee, I mean, it was
masterclass.
It was perfection.
Yeah, and in a week, we spoke last week, didn't we, about some Wigan fans saying he wasn't good enough for Wigan. Yeah, I mean, he just guides the team around the pitch. When you got the magic of French and Field, to have somebody like him who gets you in the positions to be able to produce that magic, it must be a dream walking on the pitch when you've got a player of Smith's quality in the halves. Yeah, talking about players unlucky to miss out, I'm going to be totally biased here. I thought Mark Sneed, he had a good game against Wakefield, created a couple of tries. I think he hasn't missed a conversion this season yet. I don't think he's got 100%.
No, he has.
I'm wrong.
Has
he? Fair enough. But yeah, he was unlucky. Good to see Toby King in there. Somebody say he's playing for a new contract. I don't know, but yeah, good to see Toby King in there. He's had a solid start, given the fact that there are lots of quality centres now at Warrington who are breathing down his neck once they're fully fit. So yeah, decent team that. Decent.
Yeah, do you know what? As well, we're talking Man of Steel, we're talking Super League Road Trophy at the end of the season. Jay Field, I mean, no doubt he's absolutely up there after 3 rounds, but now obviously being out for a few. On fine margins, it's going to be, but Field has been in Man of Steel form, no question about it. And that's a hammer blow for the Wigan Warriors. I will be at the Wigan press conference on Thursday. We might have a little bit of that for you as part of Captain's Run from 6 p.m. this coming Thursday. If you haven't discovered Captain's Run yet, where have you been? 6 p.m. every Thursday. If you're on the way to the game, listen in the car on Spotify and Apple. If you're not going to the game, then watch it on YouTube, and we will have it all wrapped up just as Sky is coming on for you with all the analytics, all the key head-to-heads, and all the betting. We won't talk about that, will we, Mr. Sale? But anyway, that is by the by. But there you go. That is another Team of the Week in the bag. Now, earlier on in the show, we talked about the great display that was Wigan Warriors. We also gave credit where credit was due for the Leeds Rhinos, another incredible display. I also want to give credit to St Helens' second half performance against the Catalan Dragons. I thought they were superb. When you consider how close that first half was, it looks to me as if Saints is just starting to gel in attacking phases. It's starting to come together. Jackson Hastings getting a little bit more on it. Daz Clark was in superb form. Shane Wright, we've already discussed. And I caught up with Paul Rowley a little bit earlier.
Okay, David.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, mate.
Just starting on your opposition to begin with, in a week where we've had Vegas, Joe Mellor, he's almost one of those players, if he was at a poker table, you'd underestimate him, but he always seems to have pocket aces. How pleased for Joe have you been? He's been in incredible form, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's playing really well. Nothing shocks me there. He's probably been one of the most underrated players for several years now, but his teammates always appreciate the work he does. I'm sure his coach does as well. So watching from afar now, yes, it's nice to see Joe doing so well. And we'll have to work hard to do a job on him at the weekend.
Both he and Joe Shorrocks have been incredible thus far this season. Another player that comes back to St Helens this weekend is Wonga Blake, and he's been probably one of the top performing centres in the first 3 rounds, and of course he'll want to put on a good show at the Totally Wicked. Again, you must be very impressed with how he's come back to Super League on fire.
Brewdog Stadium.
Sorry, Brewdog, my apologies, it's changed. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he'll have a point to prove, won't he? It didn't work out for him here at St Helens, so he's scoring tries, and his wing partner's doing great as well, Ethan Ryan. So it's certainly a strong edge for him at the minute, that left edge, and you know, like Joe Mellor, we'll have to prepare well and look forward to dealing with the challenges that will pose.
Wigan at the weekend got a lot of praise for the grunt in their attack and in their defence. And I thought in the second half against Catalan, you showed very similar qualities as well. Would you say at this moment in time that, you know, things are progressing very nicely in terms of the progression of St Helens after the first 3 rounds in those areas?
I just think we're scrapping hard. Again, we've not had the same team each week. We've lost a lot of players, so we're having to scrap hard. And what we're showing is that we've got a steel of determination, and that we'll make sure we're in and around where we want to be at the halfway mark and get our bodies back. And then if the plan goes right, we can come on with a strong run.
And last week, finally, I gave Shane Wright a lot of kudos, and he didn't let us down at the weekend. Had another stellar game. Another player that seems to have rolled back a couple of years is Darrell Clark. I think his form in the first 3 rounds has been great. Going back to Martin's point in terms of a quicker rucks, we're seeing the best of Darrell Clark once again, aren't we?
Yeah, he was the England international starting hooker at Wembley a few months ago, so we shouldn't be surprised by what Darrell serves up. And you don't get to be an England international if you're not a consistent player. So he's consistently played at this level for a long time, and he continues to do so. So there's no dramas around Darrell.
Great to catch up with Paul. He's always been gracious to the channel. I asked him, exactly what I said before we cut to him. I thought the second half performance, Steph, against Catalan, you're going up against them at the weekend. I thought they were exceptional in the second half.
Yeah, they were. It was a really close game up until half time. I think it was 6-0 half time, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, they're a team that's in transition, not only on the field, but with obviously a new coach in Paul. And it's going to take a bit of time to get his methodology over to those players. But what we've seen from them so far is really positive. They've not been perfect by any means, but against my side, Lee probably should have won that game. But given the Saints' adversity, that's credit to Saints that they managed to get that one over the line in a narrow win. Then to travel over to Catalan, which is a tough place, regardless of how Catalan are playing and what everyone thinks about Catalan. It's a tough place to go, and to really grind it out and dominate that second half should put the rest of the league on notice that this Saints team is going to be a good side this year, and they should be challenging for the top 4 spots for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, Greg, I think what I found really encouraging for Paul was, you're 76 and a half minutes on the clock. The game's won. I'll tell you what, we'll just post another 2 tries in the corner with Carl Felt. That shows a lot in terms of their mentality.
Yeah, and that's a sign of the great Saints teams, isn't it? That's the great Wigan teams. They never get tired of pouring the points on. They're one of those teams that doesn't put the cue on the rack when they think the game's won. As we all know, sometimes teams put the cue on the rack and it bites them on the backside. So, yeah, it's a sign that things are starting to gel when, and as Steph said, regardless of how Catalan are playing, they've got their injuries as well. It is still a very, very tough place to go. So, yeah, I mean, good signs, green shoots of progress for Paul Rowley and Saints. They've had a rough few seasons. They've not done as well as they would have liked. And in Paul Rowley, they've got a quality coach. They brought some quality players in. Once that all gels, then they're going to be a force to be reckoned with later in the season.
Yeah, look, sometimes I wish you didn't look at chats. But bottom line is, look, last season, yeah, anybody who watches our show knows that we were talking about Warrington's injuries. You know, they were the way they were. However, Saints have got injuries and are winning. Winning. You know, and that's about being honest. Yeah, they're winning with injuries. That's the facts. And it's only right that we call that out. And well done to him. And you've got to also factor in start of a season, injuries, new personnel, etc. It's a phenomenal start from Saints. Phenomenal start. Take the blinkers off, call it straight, which is what Super League Raw is all about. Incredible. You know, is injuries impacting other teams? Will it impact Lee this weekend? Probably. Will it is it impacting Huddersfield? Absolutely. Well, but equally, like we said when we were talking Huddersfield Castleford, that Huddersfield team, with those players not in, was still good enough to be better than that against Castleford. So we will call it out. We will, of course, make allowances for injuries. Of course we will. But we will not call it straight when teams use that as an excuse or underperform. You know, Huddersfield this weekend underperformed. That team should have done better. Paul Rowley's team, Alex Walmsley playing on one leg, could have easily put a cue in a rack. Maybe lost that game, but no, they won it, and they won it well. It's all about being honest. It's all about being fair. Right, okay. Team of the month. Which one of those starting 13s are going to get our player of the month? Get your name in the chat now. We'll give you a couple of shout outs. So the players that you're choosing from is Jay Field, Wigan Warriors, Ryan Hall, Adam Kieran, Wonga Blake, Zach Eckersley, Brodie Croft, Harry Smith, Cooper Jenkins, Dowell Clark, Luke Thompson, Shane Wright, Callum Watkins, and Joe Mellor. So of those players, if you want to get involved now. Who would yours be? And whilst I'm waiting for you to chat, put them in the chat, Greg, who would your player of the round be and why?
Well, I know Jay Field and Harry Smith are probably favourites and will probably be in the chat. But for pure consistency and the fact he's been in all three teams of the week, I'm going Wonga Blake.
Mr. Sale.
Yeah, I echo what Reggie's saying there. I think Wonga Blake from a pure consistency, and I think from a surprise factor as well. You know, I think that's you know, who would have had him in all three of our team of the weeks at the start of the season? I bet there wouldn't be many. So if he does get it, then fair play to him. I'm going to go a bit boring. I'm going to say Harry Smith.
Well, there you go. There you jolly well go. In the chat, Jill, of course, of Super League Raw Ladies Tackle Talk. If you've not listened to Tackle Talk this week, they're getting into the groove now. It was a brilliant episode. I'd go as far to say it's been the best yet. They're getting better every single week. It was a great debate this week, Super League Raw Ladies Tackle Talk. If you've not listened to that, go to Super League Raw podcast on Spotify and Apple and check that out. Really, really good. But Jill going Harry Smith. And I can see why. Brilliant against FC, brilliant against Lee. Callum or Jay for Dawn, Sivo for Basil, even though he's not in. Joe Mellor says Carl Shaw. Maybe he's a bit biased there as well. Wonga Blake's getting a few calls. Connor, you left Connor out. I say Croft, yeah, because Connor wasn't as good as Harry Smith over the 3 rounds. That's why.
No, Connor did. No.
Connor didn't play the first game.
Connor didn't play the first game.
But even if he had, look, what you've got to get your heads around is this is detail. Detail. 3 rounds. Trust me, right? There is an absolute. I will argue any of these positions with anyone. Yeah, Harry Smith is the best 7 after 3 rounds. It's undeniable. Go and check it out. Go and research it for yourself. You'll just have to take it. It's the facts. Anyway, here comes the Super League Raw Player of the Month for February. Yes, it had to be. I tell you, I can't remember many times. I think Herman Esse had a spell last year or maybe the year before where it happened, but I can't remember many times in all the times we've been doing Team of the Week where one player has featured in every Team of the Week in a month, and Wonga Blake has done that. Steph, you said it. to have left Saints under a cloud, to go to Bradford, to come back to Super League. And let's not forget, he played a key part in their opening game that they could have won. Let's not forget that as well. They could easily be 3 from 3. But Wonga Blake, in attacking phase, he's still got a bit of work to do in his defence. But attacking-wise, he has been exemplary. Absolutely exemplary. And this, again, is where Super League Raw, for me, we just cut a different quality of cheddar for the cracker. We really, really do. Pickles and all. Because nobody is going to have Wonga Blake as player of the month for February other than Super League Raw. Because he's not Brodie Croft in terms of accolades. He's not Jake Connor, Mikey Lewis and all the rest. But we call it for what it is. This lad left Saints under a cloud. He's come back in the Super League and has produced 3 quality performances for Bradford Bulls. Quality. And if you haven't watched the games, go and watch them and you'll understand why he's the player of the month. His performances in all 3 games have been nothing short of sensational, to the point where I'm sitting beside myself going, that's Wonga Blake, that, Dave. Dave, that's Wonga Blake. Are you sure that's Wonga Blake, Dave? I'm actually talking to myself on the city. I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's that good. So that's what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. This is why Super League Raw is what it is. Wonga Blake is the only player of the month given this season by Super League Raw. But you know what, Wonga? If you're watching, congratulations, sir. It's fully deserved, and we salute you. Mr. Sale, over to you.
Oh, I think I said it earlier. I can totally understand it. I think he's been phenomenal. And what you've got to remember as well is the team that he's doing, a newly promoted side, and he's been instrumental in how well Bradford have played. I think, what's the winger called? Is it Wynn?
Connor Wynn's been good as well, yeah.
Great. And he plays outside him, doesn't he? And I think a lot of that has been some of the offloads and stuff like that. So I think he's been phenomenal and thoroughly deserved. It's very easy, like I said, to go to your Harry Smiths, and that's who I would have had it, just because he won all 3 games, and I think it's probably recent memory as well from my point of view. I just saw an exceptional 7 display by Harry Smith, but no, fair play to him. He's been brilliant in a team that wasn't expected to do well. He's been a pivotal catalyst in how well they performed.
Absolutely. Greg?
Nothing more to add to that. I said, it's more fashionable to go for Field or for Smith, but for consistency and the fact he's been in each team of the week so far this year, no arguments from me. What a comeback. The comeback king, and Bradford, once, like you say, they've played 2 home games with hardly any away fans in there. Once you get the Leeds in there and the Wakeys and the Cass and the Warringtons and the Wigans in there, the Saints, that bowl's going to be rocking. It'll be great to see. And, if that crowd can get behind Bradford when there's no away end, imagine what it's going to be like. It's only going to lift Bradford to higher things, I think. And expect equally as good performances from him. Let's hope he stays injury-free.
Absolutely. If you want to see a team that's listed with your own players, then perhaps don't go to an independent podcast like Super League, because we will call it straight. We will give praise where it's due to any gladiator of the field, regardless of the colour of shirt that they wear, and long may that continue. It's why we get so many people watching us, because we are straight down the middle. Straight down the middle. Congratulations to Mr. Blake. We look forward to, hopefully, him having a very good return to the Brewdog Stadium. I got that one with Paul. It was a good job he corrected me. Sponsors wouldn't have been happy, would they? Anyway, but that's by the by. Right, we've got, let's just have another 5 minutes before we wrap up tonight. This, of course, is round 4 fixtures. Wakey Hull FC, Toulouse Wigan, Saints Bradford Bulls, York Knights Warrington Wolves, Lee Leopards Catalan Dragons, Leeds Rhinos Castleford Tigers, and Huddersfield Giants taking on Hull KR. Greg, I would look. It's a season where you expect the unexpected, and I get that. But with the exception, perhaps, of Wakefield Hull on Thursday, and of course, you'll probably throw in Lee Catalan now because of the injuries to Lee and Catalan. The other games, on paper, appear to be straightforward, but in 2026, nothing straightforward.
No. And York against Warrington. That is not straightforward. York have been playing really well, won 2 out of 3. No, and clearly know how to squeak past teams. You're right about Lee. A lot of injuries there. Catalan aren't playing well, as Steph said earlier on. But, Lee, all the injuries they've got. That'll be a really, really interesting game. Wigan should beat Toulouse, but they've not been playing too badly, Toulouse, and it is in France. And then, you got Huddersfield Giants and Hull KR. That for me is interesting because it'll be interesting to see how well Hull KR bounce back from Vegas. It's well documented the issues Warrington had when they got back from Vegas. Not going to repeat that. Will Hull KR have learned the lessons? Will they bounce back? It's a tough one for Huddersfield Giants if they can't win. So this is probably, and please, Hull KR fans, don't look like bottles of pop. This is probably one that secretly Huddersfield Giants might think they've got a squeak of winning because of what happened in Vegas and because of the travel that Hull KR have undergone and the emotion of the last few weeks of Hull KR. But it's an interesting one. Certainly an interesting one.
Well, Steph, we'll be unwrapping all of this in Captain's Run. If you've not seen Captain's Run yet, make sure you join us this Thursday. It's going to be on Spotify and Apple. So if you're heading to that Wakefield Hull FC game, listen in the car, just go in there, Super League Raw podcast on Spotify and Apple. And at 6 p.m, the Captain's Run will be uploaded. You can listen to that on the way to the game. We will be discussing that game on Thursday night and every other game. We'll get into the analytics, the key head-to-heads, all the statistics. There's nothing like the Captain's Run, I would say. Maybe I'm biased. It's the most comprehensive pre-round build-up show that you're going to find anywhere. This isn't just us sitting there predicting. Analytics, stats, a little bit of nous in there in terms of why we're saying what we're saying. You'll enjoy it. Trust me. Come and join us on Thursday at 6. And Steph, it's going to be an interesting show because, like I say, there's a lot of narrative around these games, isn't there?
There is, yeah. And I kind of fear for Huddersfield, if I'm being honest with you. If KR had gone there and, won, then I think that maybe would have helped Huddersfield. I think KR are going to have a rocket up them, especially after seeing that Willie Peters interview after the game. They've got, a bit of time to recover from it now. So I think that's going to. I think the narrative of it is that one's probably got the most attention, hasn't it? Because if Huddersfield were to do the unthinkable, then wow, that would be a. This isn't Leeds, beating you convincingly in Vegas. This is losing to that, to Huddersfield. So that's got thinking. But on the flip side of that, if KR absolutely demolish Huddersfield, where does that leave Luke Robinson and all that kind of? So I think that game's got massive narrative over it. So, but there's some really interesting, like York Warrington's going to be a great game. I think that could have some narratives in it. I think even Toulouse Wigan, I could have having to travel. We all know going over to France, as good as Wigan have been, Toulouse will be looking at that one and going, it's a free hit for us. This, so nothing to lose. Pardon the pun. So yeah, there's loads of interesting games this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. It's just a shame so many of them are kicking off at the same time this week. I think it's a bit on the TV schedule. It's a bit rubbish. And just as a side note, from a Sky perspective, I don't know what it is, but I can't get things playback on Sky anymore. I don't know why that's happening. I don't know if anybody else is having. Be interesting to see in the chat if anyone's having the same issues. But it's not. Doesn't seem to be adding to playlists anymore for some reason. Weird. So very strange.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating weekend of sport. It really is. Looking forward to Super League coming back on Thursday. After show party's coming up in a moment for the members. If you're not a member, come and become a member. Please do. Give us a try. Trust me, you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. There's the QR code. Got some great events coming between now and the end of the season. There is nothing like the Super League Raw community. Come and give us a go. Come and be a part of the shows. Final Hooter, Super League Raw Ladies Tackle Talk. And if you're a York Knights fan, a Bradford Bulls fan out there, we desperately need you for Instant Reaction. Of course, our new show from around the grounds after every game. We need a Bradford fan. We need a York Knights fan. And if you're a York Knights fan, come and join us after the game. We'll be somewhere in the stadium, outside the stadium, doing Instant Reaction. Come and have a chat with us. It'd be lovely to see you. You can't miss me. I've got a hoodie on, and on the back, it's a great big Super League Raw. You can't miss me, guys. Looking forward to coming up to York this Friday for that game. Right, what have you got to look forward to? Tomorrow night, it's back. Championship Rugby League with Craig Lingard, 7 p.m. I should have changed that after last week because I made exactly the same mistake last week as I've done this week. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it now so that I don't have to do it next week because it'll already be there. There you go. Quick fix, done. 7 p.m. Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Championship Rugby League with Craig Lingard. We will be going through all of the championship games from this weekend and looking forward to the games still to come. We'll be talking, of course, about Halifax and hopefully that they will be able to fulfill their fixture this weekend and more besides. So join me and Craig tomorrow, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. for Championship Rugby League. Also, of course, as we've already told you, the Captain's Run, 6 p.m. Thursday. Listen on Spotify and Apple on the way to the game or watch on YouTube prior to the Sky broadcast. We'd love to have your company. Keep your eye out as well across the weekend for instant reactions. And if you haven't listened to them yet, listen to the Final Hooter and the Super League Raw Ladies Tackle Talk over the next couple of days on your way to work. Trust me, really, really good podcast. Great debate by the fans of Rugby League. That's what makes those podcasts so special, because it's people like you talking about the great game of Rugby League, and that's how it should be. Of course, the biggest stakeholders in the game will always be the fans. We will be back to do this all again next Tuesday, 8 p.m. with our old mucker Joel. He'll be back from Butlins, having done steps or whatever he's down there, Redcoats, what's his name, Stephen Mullen and all that kind of gizmo. He'll be living the dream, won't he? We'll our Joel. But he'll be back next week. But we hope you've enjoyed this week's Super League Raw Week. A little bit longer because of, the team of the week and month and all the rest of it. But yeah, we hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to, Super League Raw members in the chat, use the socials, use the social link, go and have your after show party now. We'll come and join you. We'll have a little chat with you after the show. But from us, until next week, thanks for watching Super League Raw Weekly. Enjoy your Rugby League and tell all your friends about us. You can't beat a bit of weekly. See you next week. Bye for now.
See ya.